The entire group that you want to know about. The entire group that you want to know about. So it could be talking about the population of the United States, could be talking about the population of the world, the population of Indiana, but it is the larger group, okay? So in a similar way to population, we have a smaller group that is part of that, and that is your sample, okay? This sample is part of the population, okay? But it is who you ask or poll. So the sample is the small part out of the entire population. There is no way we can talk to everyone in the entire world. That would be the population. And so we have to talk to a smaller part of that, which is a sample. There's no real way we can talk to everybody in the United States. So again, we would have to take a sample, a smaller group out of that entire population. Okay? Parameter is the data obtained from the population. The data obtained from population. And I've had some statistics and stuff courses before. I'm thinking it's almost more, it's not what you've obtained from the population, it's more maybe suggested from your sample. Okay, so obtained, let's put some quotes on obtained. Again, you cannot really talk to the entire population. Okay, whereas statistics is your data obtained from the sample. So you can get your information from the sample because it is smaller. It is people you actually are in contact with. Okay? All right? Any question about those? All right, so then we have this very important statement up here next that says bias is when a sample or the small group does not represent the full population. Bias is when the sample does not represent the full population. Okay? Your sample, they always say you want to have a simple random sample. And it is pretty hard to get a simple random sample. Okay? Even if you were to go out and try to talk to people out in the hall, you would have some bias. You might try to talk to your friends more than other people that you didn't know. Okay? You might talk to, if you're a girl, you might be more likely to talk with other girls. That might be more biased. So it is very difficult to be unbiased when you are taking a sample. All right, so then we have 3 or 4 different suggestions of samples, and we need to determine if they are biased or unbiased. If they're biased, it does not represent. Okay? Number 1, Pike administrators want to know what the students think the Pike mascot should be. They have all band teachers ask their students. Okay, so the population there, the bigger group of people is going to be, and I think I did these in blue, So for population, all Pike students. All Pike students. And the sample group is actually going to be the band students. Okay? The parameter is what we are trying to obtain. And the parameter is what the students want for a mascot. Students want for mascot. The statistic is what the band students want for a mascot. Okay? So what do you think? Is this going to be biased? Or do you think band students are representative of the entire population of students at Pike? Take an educated guess. What do you think? Anybody? Well, this is going to be biased. Yes, it is biased. Okay? Because the sample is limited to students within one department. Okay? Band students can be very different, but at the same time, they're maybe a little more artistic, okay, than what the whole general population would be for Pike High School. Okay? Questions on that one? All right, number 2, I want to know if my students understood the system of equations. So I hand out a survey to all of my students that are present on Friday. Okay, so the population here is going to be all of Ms. Thede's students. All of Miss Thede's students. And the sample is going to be Ms. Thede's students on a Friday. So we're looking at attendance on a Friday. Okay? I want to know if students understand systems of equations. All right, so the parameter is the understanding of equations from all Thede students. Okay, and the statistic is the understanding of equations from the Friday Thede students. Okay. Now, are these two going to be exactly the same? No. Because we're going to have some absences on a Friday, right? So what do you think? Is this going to be biased or unbiased? What do you think? Do you think I have that many fewer students that are going to show up on a Friday? No. So it's going to be pretty close to the sample. So is this biased? That's going to be a no. Okay. The sample would include nearly all of Ms. Thide's students. Okay. So whatever the sample comes up with, which is my students on the Friday, it probably is going to be pretty close to what the actual population is. The sample would include nearly all of Miss Thide's students. What else should we say? We would derive the sample from all classes, or a diverse sample from all classes. Okay. There would be a diverse sample from all classes. All right. So not bias, not much bias in that particular situation. EJ, you with me? Okay. Number 3. Think of unbiased ways to survey the following populations. Mr. Woolley wants to know what all Pike students think about school lunches. What would my population be here? What's the population? All Pike students, right? All Pike students. And a sample, oh, here we go. A parameter would be thoughts about the school lunches. Lunches. I can spell. Lunches. Okay. Sampling method says use Skyward to randomly select 100 students, including some from all grades. That would be how we might do it, and make sure it's a simple random sample. So the sampling method, use Skyward to select a random 100 students, including those from all grades. So we would make sure we went and used some freshmen, some sophomores, some juniors, some seniors, but it's got to be random. Okay, simple random sample. All right. And do I need to go back? Has everybody got that last part? So much writing, Stevie. I know, right? Somebody said to me the other day when we were doing a lot of writing, what is this, English class? I was like, no, it's not English. Sometimes you have to do some writing. All right, let's go to number 4. The governor of Indiana wants to know what Hoosiers think of changing the speed limit on I-65 to 90 miles per hour. The population, which is the bigger amount of people, is going to be the residents of Indiana. Residents of Indiana. And the parameter is going to be their thoughts on changing the speed limit. Okay? Thoughts on speed limit. Okay. So the sampling method, and this would be unbiased, although I would say there might be some bias, is to text and send letters to 1,000 Indiana residents who live in different areas of Indiana. Who live in different areas of Indiana. So we can't just ask people from Indianapolis, because that would be biased, because maybe that's from a metro big city. We can't just go to rural areas, farming communities, okay? So it needs to be random sample, text and send letters, because some older people don't text, okay? But the young people do, and we need to send letters to those that do not text. All right. Next up, a pavement production company. Pavement production company surveys drivers in a city with the intent to give the results to the city as they develop their new infrastructure plan. The company survey asks, do you agree with experts that the freeway around the city needs to be widened? Okay, let's finish this up. A pavement production company surveys drivers in a city with the intent to give the results to the city as they develop their new infrastructure plan. The company survey asks, do you agree with experts that the freeway around the city needs to be widened? Identify any bias in the question. Do you think there's some bias here? Well, first of all, it says they're only surveying drivers. Now, I know when you talk about widening a road, that's pretty important, but passengers probably should be surveyed also. So the bias, I would say they are only surveying drivers. That's a bias. Okay. Also, they talk about and hint at what they're looking for. Okay. They give a hint and say, do you agree with experts? So that's saying, you know, experts know more than you and I do, so you better be thinking like an expert. So they are hinting at agreeing with experts. And I would think those two things are definite biases. Okay? All right. So those of you that have your skills checks, try to finish up the last question and bring your paper up here to me. We can now begin working on homework number 4. Okay. I don't recall when the due date is for that. We can also begin working on the weekly Canvas activity. And that is for the week of January 19th. Also, finally, our test is 1 week from today. So next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. All right? So no rest for the weary or those that are tired. Okay? Try working on the homework. If you have not turned in homeworks 1, 2, and 3, get those to me. Yes, I know I have skills checks. But I also had lots of people that had not taken them yet today. All right. Any questions about what's going on for the rest of this week? We're doing bias, margin of error, law of large numbers. We'll review on Friday and next Monday, and then test next Tuesday. Okay.